In today's news, water quality monitoring to advance through $900,000 EU grant, a governor assent to Register of Interest Act, and more homicides will be solved once residents start providing information. And BVI-TRC completes first unitary license renewals. And I urge my community to not lose sight, says Kevon Shack Lettsome. Of yours, these and more stories when 284 News return.
Hun, it's asking for your password.
Huh?
You were logged out. I need the password.
BR.
What's the rest?
BRANDI, the number 4, EVER?
Who's Brandy?
We're like the password that isn't your ex-girlfriend's name. CG Insurance. Good like that.
I should have changed it.
You should have.
You're right. That's out.
That's 6.
That's out.
With worldwide medical coverage and affordable premiums, we're like a home match that isn't played at your actual home. CG Insurance. Good like that.
My turn. Oh, come on, guys.
Well, welcome viewers to the Tuesday, December 13th edition of 284 News. I am Kamal Haynes, bringing you the latest out of the British Virgin Islands. Well, leading today's news, the British Virgin Islands, through the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labour, has received a grant from the European Union's Regional Resilient Sustainable Energy and Marine Biodiversity Programme, totaling $933,189 to finance the advancement of the territory's water quality monitoring programme. Minister for Natural Resources and Labour, Honourable Melvin Turnbull, broke the news at a press conference this morning.
It is with great pleasure that I highlight the efforts being made through the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labour to enhance the current water quality monitoring program. I am pleased to announce that a grant from the European Union and their partners, expertise from France, to the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labour in the amount of €927,890, or approximately 965,000 US dollars, through the Overseas Countries and Territories Resilience, Sustainable Energy and Marine Biodiversity Program, or RESIMBRID.
Well, according to Turnbull, the grant received builds on the EU's continuing support for environmental management in the Virgin Islands.
This grant builds on the support received from the European Union to assist with environment management activities in the Virgin Islands. Prior efforts centered on the implementation of the Global Climate Change Alliance project, which delivered tangible projects in the communities of Cayman Bay and Bruce Bay with the coastal stabilization and drainage using scientific principles and best practice to increase resilience for those communities. Those projects were the road revetment project in the Cayman Bay area that was implemented in 2016 or 2017, thereabout, and withstood the hurricanes Irma and Maria, as well as in the Bruce Bay, where we called the Piggy, an area that dealt with the watershed for that community as well.
Well, Turnbull went on to stress the relevance of importance of proper marine maintenance and care for the territory's water sources.
The Virgin Islands relies on the coastal and marine areas for its recreation, food sources, and tourism amenities. Moreover, we rely on clean coastal waters to support life and livelihoods. Our potable water comes from desalinated water collected from the near shore. Therefore, the standard of care that the sources of our drinking water needs to be high. The Water Quality Monitoring Program, in part, provides the base of evidence required to inform actions that will lead to better outcomes for the protection of our coastal and marine areas and enhance the human well-being.
Minister Turnbull said this grant has come at an opportune time due to a rapid coastal development across the territory, which has resulted in stressed marine ecosystems, evidence of which can be found in degrading reefs and coastline, all in need of strategic intervention. But the project seeks to accomplish this through institutional strengthening, capacity building, acquisition of equipment, hardware and software, and the establishment of a baseline for new priority areas and water quality parameters. Moving on, viewers, where Governor His Excellency John Rankin has given assent to the Register of Interest Act, which he believes still limits the public in how they can access information on House of Assembly members. But the governor confirmed his assent to the legislation in a statement published on Monday, where he stated that the decision took much contemplation following the passing of the bill in the House of Assembly in July. Well, he said, and I quote, "After much consideration, I have decided to assent to the act as passed by the House of Assembly. I do so in hope that members of the public will make such proper use of the information contained in the register as they can, and will, with a clear expectation that the House of Assembly will return to this subject within 1 year to design a new system for registration of interest," end quote. Well, Governor Rankin also highlighted the areas of the legislation which he believes need to be revisited, stating that they run counter to the principle of transparency and the intent underlying the commitment made by the government in the framework for implementation of Commission of Inquiry report. Well, he said, and I quote, "In my review, I also noted, however, that when passing the act, the House of Assembly made several amendments which severely restrain the degree of public access to the Register of Interest, where anyone wishing to view the register must make a written application and pay a fee for each member whose record is inspected, where the registrar must verify the identity of the person inspecting the register and keep a record of every person every person inspecting it. In addition, a person who is inspecting the register must do so in the presence of the registrar and most restrictively cannot make any kind of copy, it would seem, even notes of the content of the register," end quote. Well, the governor said he will be holding the National Unity Government accountable to their commitment outlined in their framework, giving them a 1-year period to have a new Register of Interest Act brought before the House of Assembly. Well, he continued, and I quote, "My assent to the act is therefore being made together with my clear expectation that the House of Assembly will return to this subject within 1 year. That is because of the commitment in the framework document on the design and development of a new system for registration of interest to cover both elected and public officials, but this system should be based on international best practices accompanied by an implementation plan, inclusive of costing for the introduction and maintenance of the new system. It is vital that the commitments made under the framework document are adhered to," end quote. Moving on, viewers, to our final story before the break, where former Commissioner of Police Michael Matthews believed that more homicide cases will be solved in the territory once members of the community become more forthcoming with providing law enforcers with information. Matthews made a comment while appearing as a guest on local show Talking Points in response to a point posed or raised on the subject of crime in the territory.
Because people are frightened to come forward. People are reluctant to say what they saw. And we all know, because it's a fact, that if you are a witness to something, at some point you've got to go and stand in a courtroom in front of a judge or a magistrate and say what you saw quite publicly. That's a public duty. And the only way we are all going to stay safe as citizens, residents, belongers, BV Islanders, and expats all living here together. The only way we're all going to actually be safe is by all of us accepting that responsibility. Because I can tell you now that I tried to do it, and I know Commissioner Collins has worked very, very hard to find ways that the public can come forward and give information in confidence to help the police solve these crimes.
Well, Matthews explained that the general public is still afraid to come forward with information due to the small nature of the BVI society. Well, he said the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force over the years have been working to provide avenues to facilitate the receipt of information from residents.
You know, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force has got a very good forensic capability, and it's something that's been invested heavily in by both previous commissioners, myself and the current commissioner, but also the BVI government and the British government in providing tools, training, equipment and so forth. But there are also some harsh realities, and one of those realities is, yes, we can collect DNA, but the DNA then has to go to the United States for it to be compared. And of course, you know, you've got to build up a database over a long period of time to do the comparisons. And if somebody's DNA isn't on that database, then collecting DNA actually doesn't particularly help you to solve the crime at that moment in time. You know. But our fingerprint department here are extremely good. Our ballistics capability is extremely good. And as I'm sure you know from the headlines we saw recently, the RVIPF have seized more guns this year off of our streets than I think the previous 10 years. It's something like that. It's excellent work that's been going on.
But a former top cop also expressed confidence in the technology available at the disposal of the RVIPF, stating that heavy investment has gone into ensuring that local law enforcers have the latest technology.
You know, I can certainly quote for up to the point when I finished in April of 2021. And between the year 2000 and April 2021 when I finished, there was something around 70 homicides recorded in the territory, of which over half actually had been detected and people had been arrested, charged and were either awaiting trial or had been convicted and sentenced. So it's not correct to sort of suggest that the majority of homicides are not detected, but of course there is still a significant number of undetected homicides in the territory, and of course driving in this afternoon, I'm hearing probably the same stories that you're hearing, that there's been another shooting on the island today in the East End, and you know, it saddens my soul and my heart every time I hear that on the news, because it feels like nothing is changing.
Matthews also addressed the false assumption that more cases remain unsolved in the territory in comparison to the number of cases that have been detected. Well, he said since 2000, more than half the homicides observed in the territory have been resolved.
This situation is not going to change until we overcome some real barriers that still exist here today in 2022 going into 23, and that is about trust, it's about confidence, and it's about the local community themselves being prepared to stand up and say enough is enough, I'm not going to accept this anymore. You see, what people talk about is they use the language of the police have not solved these murders, they've not solved these crimes, and very often you see the bloggers very often lambasting the Commissioner of Police and saying, you know, you're failing us, you know, you're not solving these crimes. Well, you know, policing and detecting serious offences is a very, very complex thing to do, because the only way you detect a crime of that nature is by finding who the killer is and taking them off the street and placing them before a court. Now, to do that, to take somebody's liberty away like that, you've got to have substantial evidence. And that evidence is not easy to find in such a small community like ours.
Well, up next, viewers, the BVI TRC completes first unitary license renewals. And I urge my community to not lose sight, says Kevon Shack Lettsome. But these are more stories after a word from our sponsors.
Freeze. Choose your mix. Choose your flavor.
Good job there, brother. All right. I'm surprised you're here.
I'm surprised you're still alive.
Charles, it's been 60 years.
I wish it was 60 more.
Let it go.
No. You know what you did.
It was just ice cream. But you know what? It was delicious.
What?
We're like a family get-together without all the family drama.
What you gonna do?
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Lord of Jesus. That line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, Sonny.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Over there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay. I'll take care of it.
What? No man, forget that.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission has announced renewals of 4 unitary licenses. Of 4 telecommunication licenses, namely unitary licenses, were recently renewed by the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission of the Virgin Islands. For more on this report.
The Telecommunications Regulatory Commission has completed the first ever process of renewal of unitary licenses for telecommunications network and service providers in the British Virgin Islands. Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Guy L. Malone, in noting the extensive work of his team, said, quote, "It is indeed a proud moment for the Commission and the Territory to arrive at the culmination of executing the renewed unitary licenses. The staff of the Commission and the group of communications business leaders across the British Virgin Islands believe the incredible and unlimited importance of economic advancement of the telecommunications industry in the Territory. My team worked diligently and persevered throughout to see this process to completion. I am proud of their efforts and commend them." End quote. A total of 4 telecommunications licenses were renewed. The subject licenses were issued to BVI Cable TV Limited, Caribbean Cellular Telephone Limited, Cable and Wireless BVI, and Digicel BVI. The unitary license enables the respective licensee to operate a telecommunications network and provide telecommunications services in the British Virgin Islands. The mentioned licenses were first issued in 2007, signaling the start of liberalization in the Virgin Islands to create the circumstances necessary for a fully effective and successful telecommunications sector. Over the past 15 years, they have provided a variety of telecommunications services to the Territory, which has seen the transition from basic telephone to data services. The importance of and reliance on data services were particularly noticed in enabling remote work and learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. To commence the renewal, each licensee was required to submit their application to the Commission no less than 12 months prior to the expiration date of their license term. The year to follow included various processes to be completed by the Commission, including in-depth review of applications, allowance for public comments, public hearings and compliance evaluations, and the revision of terms and conditions for the new unitary licenses. Some of the new terms in the licenses will allow for a review of the license and compliance assessments to be performed by the Commission at 5-year intervals. The new unitary licenses have been issued for a 15-year period, reflecting the term of the previous licenses. Chairman of the Commission, Vance Lewis, shared his delight and noted that the respective companies all appeared ready to continue working hard to improve communications for the Territory during the next 15 years. For 284 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
Well, in a recent Facebook post, President of District 7 Action Committee and political aspirant Kevon Shack Lettsome encouraged residents of District 7 to not lose sight of issues affecting the community. Or more on this report.
In a recent Facebook post, President of the District 7th Action Committee and political aspirant Kevon Shack Lettsome encouraged residents of the 7th District to not lose sight of the issues affecting the community. Lettsome, while praising the success of the American airline direct flights to the U.S. from the British Virgin Islands, said, quote, "Of course, much of our attention has focused on our huge win with airlift to the USA mainland, and the celebration will continue until the inaugural flight has happened. I understand the great convenience this will bring to Virgin Islanders and residents alike, and the positive tourism implications that it would have. End quote. He added, however, I urge my community to not lose sight of our abandoned roadways infrastructure, our decade-old sewage issues, our unresourceful water system, our obstructive bushes along the roadways, our absent programs for seniors and kids, and our limited healthcare system that have continued to plague the 7th District community. Hashtag do it and done, hashtag 2023. Lettsome earlier this year publicly announced his intentions to contest the general elections in District 7th. For 284 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
Well, up next, Joyce Samuel students bring holiday cheer and Cayman Islands to host referendum on contentious issues. With these stories, when 284 News return.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Yo, everything good there?
Aye. This thing got me one way, daddy.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out that trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, students of the Joyce Samuel's Primary School had their talents on display recently for their school's Christmas concert. But 284 Media was on the ground to capture the activity. Here are some of those moments.
No shoes on his feet. He said, "You spend the night. Won't take much time till I can get back up on my feet. I look to heaven and pray, day after day. I'm just trying to get something to eat. It's Christmas in love till that means till that's what I need. It's Christmas in love.
Well, the Cayman Islands will proceed with a referendum on two highly contentious bills surrounding gambling and drug use in that territory after a motion from the government to this end received overwhelming support from both sides of the parliament. Or more in this report.
Cayman Islanders have been called upon to do their civic duty by participating in an upcoming referendum to decide the way forward on the issues of decriminalization of small amounts of marijuana and the creation of a national lottery in their territory. Members of the House of Assembly voted almost unanimously, with the exception of one abstention and one absentee, to trigger the public referendum after the motion was brought forward by Premier Wayne Panton. Panton, who opens debate on the motion, did not shy away from the fact that such contentious issues would bring heavy debate in all corners of Cayman Island society.
The introduction of a national lottery and the decriminalization of the consumption and possession of small amounts of cannabis, the two issues which are at the heart of this motion, will no doubt spark much discussion and debate, not only within this Honourable House, but within homes, workplaces, public gatherings, and I dare say across this country, wherever people gather.
As for questions surrounding the government's timing for bringing such a motion forward, Panton offered this explanation.
It is a well-known fact that this government stands for people-driven, accountable, competent, and transparent, the acronym PACT. Madam Speaker, the motion before us today embodies the heart and soul of our approach to governance. For years, Madam Speaker, discussions and the odd public debate here and there have been vocalized around these two issues. What has been lacking, Madam Speaker, is the political will and a commitment to progress the national debate forward.
On the issue of decriminalization of small amounts of marijuana specifically, the House of Assembly has not yet agreed upon what will fit the description of small amount for the purpose of impending legislation. Panton has also clarified that the referendum will deal strictly with the issue of decriminalization, not legalization, given the Cayman Islands' international obligations as a British overseas territory. The main purpose of the decriminalization, the Premier noted, would be to prevent people from damaging their reputations by generating criminal records for carrying small quantities of marijuana. The proposed referendum is expected to cost the Cayman Islands an estimated $1.1 million. A date for it is yet to be announced. For 284 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
And just to end on some news of soccer from the FIFA World Cup, Argentina is through to the final, the first team through to the final of the 2022 FIFA World Cup, where they will face either Morocco or France, who are set to play tomorrow. And that can be viewed on Fox, or CCT's Fox channel, where you can view that at 3 p.m. tomorrow to see whether Argentina will face France or Morocco. Well, viewers, that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. Bye-bye.
Freeze. Choose your mix. Choose your flavor.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.